Two people can live the exact same moment, the same failure, the same loss, the same delay, and walk away from it with two completely different feelings. One is walking away feeling defeated. The other is feeling redirected and thankful. The distribution of these people is not 50-50. Only a small portion of people can consistently take those sour, unripe lemons that life just keeps serving us over and over, and turn them into that sweet, sweet lemonade. But still, how do such people do it? How do they hijack the brain's natural response to be sad, to be disappointed, to be broken when they are faced with stuff like failure, pain, loss, or suffering? I fully don't know, to be honest, but I know something that definitely helps with that. And today, I want to share this something with you. My name's Taras. Welcome to Taras Ignites. And this video is all about the concept of cognitive reframing. Reframing is a psychological technique for shifting your perspective on a situation, past experience, or even a single thought. This tool is used to change how you feel about certain things, especially if those certain things keep recurring and causing you to suffer internally. I honestly can't count the number of times I've used reframing in my life to transform some of my negative or unhelpful views into more positive, realistic, or empowering ones. Reframing teaches us to view challenges as opportunities for growth, and that, in turn, builds resilience and helps manage stress, anxiety, and even depression. I can kinda break down the way I use reframing in my mind into 4 steps. 1. Identify a negative thought or a recurring thought pattern. 2. Actively challenge it with questions. 3. Try to find alternative interpretations. And finally, step 4. Consciously choose a more constructive narrative. Sounds easy, right? But try pulling that off when your body just keeps firing off neurotransmitters and emitting hormones left, right, and center. Doesn't mean we shouldn't try, right? Remember that reframing is simply the act of changing the meaning that your brain assigns to the event, not the event itself. There are no ways to go in the past and change it as far as I know. But luckily there's no need to. Because we suffer not from the past events themselves. We suffer from our interpretation of them. And that, my friend, our interpretation of what happened, we have the mental capacity to try and change that at any second. Mastering reframing can have a crucial effect on your life. An example: 2 people lose their jobs. Sure, the initial response will be unpleasant in most cases. But when the dust starts to settle, one thinks I'm worthless. The other thinks it was a dead end anyway. Same event, different frame, different nervous system response, and a different future. Think of reframing as a knife in the kitchen. In untrained hands, it's dangerous. You can cut yourself. And I have a whole section about that later on in the video. But a kitchen knife in trained hands, whoo! That's the chef's magic wand. It keeps everyone alive. It feeds us. That's what reframing is meant to be. Not a way to lie to yourself, but just one of the many tools in your mental arsenal. So how do we master reframing? Let's dig a bit deeper. Remember from earlier? The first step is identifying a situation that needs reframing. Usually, it's when you are feeling some intense negative emotions. Like when you are very angry or very sad at something or someone, and maybe it keeps popping up in your head and bothering you. Well, that's a perfect candidate for reframing. Or another example, sometimes in a simple moment, your brain somehow takes that moment and turns it into a life sentence. It doesn't like unexpected negative emotions, and is just trying to protect you. But if you're feeling overwhelmed and can't handle it, well, might as well try some reframing. Let's say you identified a negative perspective or a thought pattern that you would like to change. How do you actually reframe it? Question its validity. Is it 100% true? What are the concrete facts, if so? And could there be another explanation? Often, as soon as you start putting some real light onto these negative perspectives, those self-damaging thoughts start to crumble. And much more importantly, you yourself realize that you have the power over them, that you can try and turn any gloomy perspective into a more empowering one. Let's look at an example of finding some alternative interpretations. Let's say you keep failing over and over, no matter what you try. Your initial perspective might be, damn, maybe I'm just not meant for this. I fail at everything that I try. I was, am, and probably will be a loser. But that doesn't sound right, does it? So might as well reframe this failure situation. You see, the fact that you have so many of them means that you've stood up every single time that you were knocked down by failure. And that's a much more empowering thought, right? No matter what life threw at me, I was, am, and will always try to be a fighter. Or what about this example? You wake up after a night of tired bad sleeping. The traitorous alarm just went off. Your whole body feels heavy. You immediately feel behind. Your initial thoughts might be, oh, I really don't want to get up right now. I should have more energy. I am so lazy. But what good will that bring to an already tired and struggling self? Absolutely none. So might as well use reframing and look at the same situation, but under a slightly different lens. There's probably a reason why you are so tired right now. A lack of energy when you wake up is a signal from a system that has been carrying way too much lately, and you probably need some rest. This means that you cannot keep sacrificing sleep moving forward. But this morning, you are simply tired, not lazy. It would be difficult for anyone in your state to get up right now. And some people wouldn't. So getting up right now is basically claiming your first victory of the day. And that's what I call consciously choosing a more constructive narrative. However, please don't get it twisted. Reframing is not some kind of magic. It's not a cure-all, and it's definitely not a permission to lie to yourself. Sometimes you can convince yourself that everything is fine when it's clearly not. That a toxic situation is teaching you patience when it's actually destroying you. That pain in some cases is character building when sometimes it's just unnecessary pain. So how do you stay grounded and not fall into the trap of lying to yourself with reframing? Here's a simple anchor. A healthy reframe does not erase facts. It works with them. Ask yourself, what are the raw facts of this situation? Strip this story away. Like, what really happened? Then ask, what meaning am I adding to it? Those are often two different things. If you feel like your new frame clearly contradicts your reality, requires ignoring repeated harm, or keeps you stuck in a loop without any positive change, it's probably not working. A good reframe reduces unnecessary suffering while still respecting the truth. Another good tip is to never reframe in complete isolation. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is to check in your new perspective with a different human being. Ideally, a friend who knows you well, or someone who's not afraid to tell you the truth. But if you don't have a person like that in your life at the moment, just write the situation down as clearly and neutrally as possible, and ask ChatGPT or a different chatbot for an unbiased opinion. Because a good reframe has to always make sense, even when someone else is looking at it. Reframing definitely doesn't change your life overnight, but it slowly changes the person who shows up to live it. At first, you'll obviously still feel the pain, but in some time, it'll hopefully stop knocking you flat. Setbacks won't define your whole weeks anymore. You'll recover faster. Over time, your actions will start to shift instinctively. You'll try again sooner. You'll talk to yourself with more precision. And hopefully, reframing will help you to stop adding unnecessary suffering to a sometimes already difficult life. Welcome to the ending, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. I want to be completely honest with you. This passing year was not the easiest for me. I moved to a different country. I became a father for the first time, and I'm sharing this journey with Taras Ignites publicly. And during this year, there were nights when I questioned everything. And during those moments, reframing really helped me. It helped me to see fear as proof that I care, pressure as evidence of responsibility, and difficulty as a price of a meaningful life. So as we step into 2026, I want to wish you clarity. I want to wish you strength. And most importantly, I want to wish you a healthy mind that does not betray you in your darkest moments. Thank you so much for watching, my friend. See you in the next one. Bye.